Hey, what up guys, Be More here with a quick impressions video of my 12 or so hours with the new release game published by Amazon called Crucible. I will go over some things I like about the game, some things that I think are great about the game, and some things that I don't think are so great, as well as some final thoughts to wrap it all up. And as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe as I make my way to 200 subscribers. I don't like to waste anyone's time, so let's dive right in. The good. Plenty of good things to talk about when it comes to the Crucible. First, let me start off by saying the concept of the game is amazing. Is it anything new? No, of course not, but what it's trying to do, it accomplishes. Blending elements of the most popular esports and Twitch games out today, Crucible sets itself apart by blending some PvE enemies in the most competitive game mode. Speaking of game modes, let's give a quick breakdown of the modes that are available currently. Harvest Command. Simple control conquest game mode type. Multiple points to defend on the map with some team boosters and PvE enemies mixed in. This is probably my most disliked game mode as it incorporates and emphasizes what I most don't like about the game. Alpha Hunter. This is a battle royale mode set in the parameters of Crucible. So boosters, some animals mixed in for fun. One nice thing is being able to team up with another player in case their partner dies. Otherwise, it doesn't change too much of anything up, but it's still fun for a couple of rounds. Heart of the Hives. This is my favorite game mode by far, and I assume the main mode they expect you to play. 4v4 objective based game mode. It wasn't until I gave this mode a real chance that I started to see how great this game could become. Another good thing that separates Crucible from other games is the leveling system in the middle of the match. Here's a quote from a developer that worked on the game. "You're not limited in your ability to fight another player. Suddenly, this role emerges where anyone can meaningfully contribute through farming, gaining experience to help their team gain levels." With this jumping off point, I will say this role does exist within the match. You can contribute a lot just by getting essence and boosters to your team. So far on the surface, this game seems pretty straightforward. Get your XP, get stronger in order to defeat players. Great concept, easy enough for anybody to really jump in and contribute in any fashion. So the learning curve of the game isn't deep by any means. Some of the moment-to-moment combat is really good when everyone is chaining abilities and escorting each other to the next objective. This clip I'm about to show you is from a 3v4. We won because of our use of tactics and abilities along with the other team being, new.
Nades deployed!
Your rifle now reloads faster and holds more ammunition.
Nades deployed! Let's get a package from home. Think again. On the move.
Capturing the heart. Protect me.
Your hunters have captured a hive heart.
One more heart to go. Pour it on. Chalk up another one.
As you can tell, this can be exhilarating. I didn't think I would enjoy Heart of the Harvest game mode as much as I do, but it's something about being able to hold off a team of 2 or 3 long enough for your reinforcements to arrive is a gameplay loop that is somewhat satisfying. Now we move on to the bad. While we do have some issues with the game, I think the overall thought is that with time they can improve a lot with the overall package. The key thing is time, and only the publishers really know how long they will support the game. So let's go through and talk about what I think is sort of lackluster with the game. Generic. The art style of the game is probably the most obvious glaring problem in its current state. I can't quite put my finger on it, but all the colors seem a little dull in the environment. Plus, with the resolution scaling with a distance, sometimes the game can lead to some not pretty moments. Honestly, the effects of the abilities look better than the entire environments. This isn't to say the game is generic, but the art style and the cartoonish graphics is something we see in free-to-play games all the time. Along with emotes, quotes, customizables, everything seems pretty generic, nothing really stands out. As well as this sort of boils down to the gunplay. While I didn't choose every single character, The characters I did shoot with, none of it felt really particularly great. I think the biggest problem with the game is that it just doesn't feel that great to get into fights. That is probably the biggest core of the combat problem. There is no recoil to guns. So right now it seems pretty generic and pretty basic. It doesn't feel good getting into a fight. Features. This should change over time, but let me tell you, this game in its current state is a free-for-all when it comes to features. So the game director said it was a design choice to not include voice chat at launch. While I would understand if this was a strictly PvP game, with objectives, this is a really hard sell for me, myself, because trying to get the team on the same page is very hard. While I do respect their vision for trying to protect their community from toxic players, give us some option to enable voice chat. Doing any of these objective-based game modes without some form of communication can be like grinding your teeth on pavement. It feels like an uphill battle trying to get your team on the same page. But of course, what also did make it into the game flawlessly is the Battle Pass and microtransaction store, which, let me say, is pretty generous by looking at it compared to other games, but it's nothing huge to really talk about. Presentation. This is probably my biggest disappointment when it comes to the game. Coming fresh off of a Valorant binge, walking into a brick wall known as the Crucible when it comes to presentation. In my Valorant review, I explained how the feedback system in that game gave you a casino-like euphoria whenever you did something right. Headshots sounded like winning at a slot machine. In Crucible, it's literally bare bones when it comes to the presentation. Most sounds sound way too similar, so you have no idea if you're taking damage or someone else just got a kill. There's no mini-map, scoreboard, or enthusiastic announcer celebrating the taking of objectives. Everything sounds sort of just super tame. When it comes to free-to-play games, I think that the presentation is one of the most important aspects of gameplay, as well as the UI is not good by any stretch of the imagination, so it can be frustrating to have to get the information needed for a match. The current feedback system also for melee characters is laughable, with no way to know if you're actually hitting an enemy player. There's no blood or stagger or anything to keep track of how much damage you've done other than by looking at their health bar. This just doesn't feel good and leads back to that moment-to-moment combat problem I mentioned earlier in the video. I don't want to dig too much into what's bad about the game, but just know that you will not be getting a fully fleshed out game rich with features. We are very much in the early stages of this game's life, so I want to make sure that is very much communicated in this video. Final thoughts. Honestly, I titled this video A Diamond in the Dirt, and I don't think there's a better title for this game. The bones of this game are good, like really good. Everything else seems to sort of be dragging it down. Not to say that the game is dead on arrival, but not having a lot of features approach at launch might not really be the best course of action when it comes to these free-to-play games. And let's just mention, free-to-play games are a dime a dozen, so if you don't really hook people when you first log in, you know, they could never log back in after they're done. If you could enjoy a game from the ground up, then I'm sure you will have a blast playing this game. The bones are good, and like I said, when everything is going full tilt, the game can be a heck of a time. At the end of the day though, my final thoughts are that this game will only be as popular as the amount of work that can be done to add features to this game, and sort of in a timely manner. Without these very basic features, you're just a good game rolling around in a pile of dirt. I think that will sort of hold this game back more than anything else. But as always, if you like what you see, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and until the next one guys, be more.
Now that you might be.
I'm out of energy.
What's your hurry?
Predictable.
Guess I got lucky. Let's show